All right, let's get started right at 8 o'clock on the dot. So, want to welcome everybody. It is Wednesday, September 21st, 2022, and I'm joined as usual by Swiggy and Gavin, and Justin will hopefully hop on shortly. Both of y'all, how are y'all doing today?
Doing good. You know, I was just going to say, do you remember the 21st night of September, Josh?
Dude, I cannot hear your audio at all. Your audio is very, very, very muffled.
Well, I am doing fantastic, but then again, it is a Friday for me today, so
Yeah. So you get your 2 days off then.
oh yeah, gonna go down to DFW and watch the Guardians play the Rangers and celebrate my dad's birthday.
Awesome. And now, what were you saying, Gavin? I guess he's still working on his audio. So, anyway, we're going to have a fun show tonight because obviously we're going to preview K-State, get our thoughts on it, see what our prediction is, all the sort. But we're also going to have fun, Swiggy. You know why we're going to have fun? Because we're going to rip Oklahoma State a new one. It is well-deserved. And, they beat us one time every 10 years, and now they're on their high horse. Well, time to bring them back down a notch, back down to earth. So.
That's a very important game. I mean, going 19-90-7 against OU, it just means more.
For
nice. Perspective, and I did look this up. The Iron Bowl, Alabama, all-time great team, won all these national championships. In theory, should wipe the floor with Auburn every year. That rivalry is Alabama has the advantage, 48, 37-1. I'm just saying that's
they actually have something under 15.
Yeah, that's a rivalry.
You want to know what else is a rivalry?
What else?
Another thing that's a rivalry is that Kansas has beaten OU more than Oklahoma State has beaten OU.
Okay, is that better now?
Yeah, we can hear you, Gavin.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It swapped over to my truck audio, and I guess that's why it didn't pick up.
You just have that wild, crazy country internet.
I do. I just do. Yeah,
you do.
But I was gonna say I was trying to reference Earth, Wind, and Fire today. That was kind of what all I was going to reference. So, because
there was an attempt, Gavin. There was an attempt. And our final co-host of the night has joined us. Justin, how are you doing this evening?
Do you remember the 21st night of September? How y'all doing?
We're doing good.
Sure coordinated that better.
It before you, Justin.
What?
Sure coordinated that better.
I just mentioned it before you.
Yeah, I know. That's why I got the idea. The guy, I heard Gavin mention that. That's why I brought it up.
You tried. That's what matters.
Yeah.
It's okay. All right, guys, we're 8 minutes in. Let's hop right into the question of the day because it's a two-parter, because it's going to be two. Because I want to focus on the positives and I want to slap somebody around. So,
Jesus.
So you're going to get two of them. Justin, you only have to worry about one question specifically since you don't necessarily know OU stuff unless you want to throw an answer in there. So the first question of the day is, this Saturday, the Selmon brothers are going to be unveiled, are going to get a statue on campus. For those of you who do not know, watching this in the future or not OU fans in general, OU commemorates like kind of the faces of OU with statues. The coaches have one if they win 100 wins. Outside of Tebow, I highly doubt he's going to get one. And we have all the Heismans. But this is kind of the first one that is not a Heisman winner to make to get a statue. And you have to understand the Selmon brothers were like one of the most dominant forces in defense in the 70s. So my first question is, out of all the OU football exclusively players, who do you think deserves a statue that is not a Heisman? because obviously Kyler Murray will get his next year. So let's kind of start with that, and then we'll go around from there. Just give me your first thoughts. We'll start with Swiggy.
That's a good question. That's a good question. Let me think. Hey, got me there. I mean, like, if I had to pick someone, I would probably say Roy Williams.
That is a good one. That's a good one. I didn't think of that one.
Yeah. I mean, Superman play, all-time great. Probably the best DB in Sooner history. I'm going Roy Williams on that one.
Okay. Gavin, what about you? Who do you think?
I gotta go AD all day, baby.
Why
I
AD?
gotta go AD. Oh, I mean,
You gotta give me a reason. You can't just state it.
Okay, best running back to come out, besides Billy Sims and all the great running backs that has happened in the history and everything. I mean, he actually kind of helped OU, basically become a force when it came to drafting, around the 2000s. And, he actually became a dominant force within the league. So, especially that what was it, the 2012 MVP as well. So, you got to put him up there at the top.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see AD. I can definitely see Roy Williams. Y'all, outside of like the Heismans, y'all kind of take the big ones at this point with it. I would probably say myself, because of his name, essentially, it's probably got to be Joe Washington.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, the silver shoes.
Silver shoes. Now, alternatively, I thought a little outside the box as well for it, Bob Berry. Because he is the OG original voice of Oklahoma, it kind of makes sense that honors the tradition, and everybody knows touchdown Oklahoma. So I thought about it because once you start really thinking about it, it's like, it gets a little bit tough really fast. Justin, do you know any OU player you would like to see as a statue as from their college career? And if not, that's not a big deal. That was kind of the question. You didn't need to answer if you didn't need to worry about it.
Yeah, I really don't know enough Sooner players to know who should be considered. Only the most recent ones.
That's fair. All right, now here's the part 2. And I'm getting time to slap some people around. We're going to start with Gavin on this one. Are you ready?
Okay.
Keep it brief, though, because we'll go into it later. Who is at fault for Bedlam ending, OU or OSU?
Man, this is going to be tough.
I don't know the whole story behind. I don't even know the whole story behind that.
What was it, Gavin?
I can't say both of them, can I? That's the only.
No, you cannot. No, there is definitely one answer.
Man, I think if anything, I have to put it partly within OSU, and a part of it, it's like, it's just part of it's the saltiness, if anything, for me, and it's like, they're wanting to put themselves as the victim, through all of this. But the thing is, you got to turn it around, OSU, and realize, OU out of your conference, that's going to get you much more of a better chance of getting in the playoff, if anything. I mean, you could probably see them, as a big Bedlam game, as a playoff game, if anything. I mean, it's kind of like a way of like, it's going to happen one way or the other, even if it won't happen within the next decade or so.
Yeah. Swiggy. Who's that fault, in your opinion?
Oklahoma State. Absolutely nothing is preventing you from, and not even if you want, I'll even say this here, even if you don't want to schedule it every single year, nothing is preventing you from doing that game every 2 to 3 years if you really want to. There's nothing stopping you. There's nothing stopping you. You have every financial incentive if you want to do it. I mean, but hey, if you're fine playing Central, you know what? Central Michigan is more important to play every year. So
that's a deep cut. I can approve. Justin,
yeah.
Who is at fault for one of the longest, I guess, if you want to call it rivalry? Some of us don't. I will be upfront. I do not care one way or the other.
I don't even know the whole story behind why that's in it. Because
I can tell it.
Is it because y'all are going to the SEC next year?
Yeah, that's it. That is solely it. And Oklahoma State basically said, well, we're going to take our ball and go home, but it's OU's fault. What? So anyway, we'll delve a little bit into that, but I'll ask you that question again, Justin, at the end, once you get the full perspective of it. So that all being said, let's jump into like kind of recapping really fast. So obviously OU asserted their will against Nebraska and absolutely wiped them off the map and took their corn 49-14. Swiggy, any final thoughts on the Nebraska game?
You know what? That was exactly what I wanted to see from the team. I mean, Nebraska came out fast, opened hard. Casey Thompson, we had some issues with him. We had some issues with Casey Thompson last year. So it's not like things were total. So it's not like there is some history there, some familiarity, and I thought the bounce back was very important. We gave up that touchdown, and then we just shut them out. I think that's the biggest thing to me is even when we started slow, at no point did I feel like things were starting to get out of control, which, we've seen it happen before. We saw it happen last year where OU should have been in total control of that game, but you just didn't see it on the scoreboard at all. Where this one, we came out, we played hard. Defense was swarming. We did everything we could to confuse them. We made some good adjustments because Nebraska started to do some things they didn't do under Frost. So, and you can't always predict. And you can't always predict that.
You mean actually get blown out by double digits instead of losing by single digits? I had to get that in there. I'm sorry. I'm still laughing at a joke I saw where it's like, we're tired of losing by 3 points. Well, the monkey paw curls. Well, okay, fine. You're going to lose by 35 points. No, wait, stop. Not like this. So if there's one area of improvement, because we'll also kind of dive into that as well, was one area of improvement you give them?
I'd still like to see a bit more. I'd still like to see a bit more consistency in the passing game. Dillon Gabriel looked good. He didn't look great. Just overall accuracy was a little bit off. It's still Nebraska was still playing. They just didn't give stuff up. Yeah. But that's the one thing. And there are times where I felt he needed to throw the ball away, but that was really as far as that goes. Gabriel playing a little bit more effectively, and the offensive line being a little bit better wouldn't hurt. But I thought the line did a good job overall.
Yeah. Justin, did you get a chance to watch the OU game?
No, I was playing disc golf during it, but I will say,
peace out. His device is not connected, but that's okay. He'll be back. Gavin. Oh, wait. Nope. His device is still not connected. He's probably messed with it. Gavin, final thoughts on the OU Nebraska game. What any final thoughts from it that Swiggy hasn't mentioned or anything, or what your any points or anything to bring up?
I will say my final thoughts was, we are doing a lot, have been very well consistent. Other than I think the first 2 drives of the game, our defense did really well. Got a few things to clean up. Deshaun White's got to do better, where he's hitting for the most part. Fortunately, that was in the first half, so we'll get him back, for Kansas State. So it's, one of those things to where I was really impressed. And I'm with Swiggy. The accuracy with Gabriel just has to improve, and the offensive line came out and showed up. I'm just glad to see that.
My final thoughts have been kind of mirrored with Sean in my recap video at this point as well. I personally think that there's not a lot really that you could criticize for it. They had a complete game. And I think that's what I'm very happy about is they came out they asserted their dominance. They put the foot on the throat and did not let up. That was they came out and did what we expected an OU team to do. Can't say that necessarily under Lincoln Riley, but he came out and took care of business. And I want to absolutely mirror what both of y'all said. Is for me, the only nitpick I truly have is Dylan's got to learn to throw the ball away. Like, he's trying to play hero ball way too much, and that's getting him sacked. You got to, at some point, throw it away. Now, see, when I say that, though, then, of course, he runs and does a 61-yard touchdown. So it's like, I get it, but that's not his thing. He doesn't run and do that. I think that was more of a fluke because Nebraska has such a horrible defense versus actually, cause doing hero ball with it. So I would definitely say throwing the ball away is his big thing that he's got to work on it, because that other teams are going to abuse that at that point. So now, that all being said, what about, so we've had 3 games happen. We've had UTEP, Kent State, and Nebraska. We'll start Gavin this go around. Gavin, how do you feel right now where this OU team is right now? Because we've kind of gone through the first hurdle, or the first prelude is we got through the non-conference schedule relatively healthy. Guys are having the generic little bang-ups and everything like that. And OU kept opponents to under 30 points, or to 30 points altogether at this point. Mind you, they didn't open up the playbook until Nebraska or anything like that. But what is your overall thoughts on this team, both offense and defensive side of the ball?
I think if anything, you have to feel pretty confident. I mean, looking from the stats and everything that's all been happening, I think if anything, we're in a good place. I feel like if anything, I would just love to see the run game improve. I know with like Nebraska, we had over 300 yards, but against Kent State and UTEP, we just really didn't see a whole lot of dominance, when it came to the run game. But, I would just love to see improvements in that run game more than anything. That's just my base, critique at this point.
Okay. Swiggy, how do you feel about this team 3 games into the season? And I know it's crazy. We've already sped through the first 3. Yeah. I think stuff is going to slow. We're going to feel a little bit slower once we're into conference play, but how do you feel right now going into conference play?
I feel really good going into conference play. I mean, just the vibe, everything around this team seems better and healthier. We have a defense that really wants to attack. They're not just playing speed D. They're playing with pride. And look, because we saw last year, Tulane seemed like they were sneaking up on us, and they kept on going. I mean, we've always had those good non-conference games, but it just everything about this has just felt better. Like you can say, okay, we didn't really blow out Kent State the way we thought we would, but the plays were so vanilla. It just felt like a tune-up game instead of a real game. And even then, we still won by over 30 points that game.
Passing it.
Exactly. So, that makes me feel good. I feel like, I feel like that's the kind of thing where, you had people saying, OU, we had lost too many people. We had lost too many coaches. We were bare this year. It was going to be just a bit of a rough year for OU. And obviously, it's UTEP, Kent State, and Nebraska. But we did what you're supposed to do against teams like that. One of my biggest criticisms about the Harbaugh era at Michigan for so long has been, 3 years ago, I feel like UConn would have given Michigan fits. Maybe not total fits, but the game would be it would be a close game into the third quarter. This year, this year Michigan seems to have that kind of good vibe to it, where they're taking care of business. And to me, that's really where OU feels this year. I'm trying to remember the last time we had a 3-game slate. I think it had to be under Bob, late 2000s, where I just felt like, okay, we did what we had to do. Now let's get to the real stuff.
Yeah, I agree. what about any area of improvement?
I would say 2003.
Okay.
What was our 2003 non-con? Because I can't even know that off. UCLA, I remember that one.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Oklahoma Sooners, 2003.
We had us. We also had Alabama, which was before Saban. So.
Yeah, and we had Fresno State and North Texas as well. So
Yeah, and I mean, and Alabama going to Alabama's tough, but we still won that game, and that 2003 beat North Texas 37-3, beat Bama by a touchdown, beat Fresno State 52-28, and then UCLA 59-24. Like, I'll even go back 2009. I can go back to 2019. I can go back to the 2019 OU Sooners, where it's like, oh, we have Jalen, we have all this, it's like, we have Jalen, we have all this stuff. I mean, Houston did come back. We were never a threat to lose, but 49-31. South Dakota, we beat 70-14. UCLA 48-14. Yeah, that was a good year too. But yeah, there were definitely some. I don't know. There's still a weird vibe at times. Even though that was a really good OU team too. The only area of improvement, it's quarterback play, which you just have to kind of have to take that for what it is. So I think it's better.
Yep. Justin, thank you for coming back, buddy.
I don't even know what happened. I had like uninstalled some computer, some camera equipment I had on my computer while I was streaming on Twitch.
It's okay. You're here. That's what matters. So, you said you didn't catch the OU game, but you did see the score for it. Did anything surprise you from it?
Well, y'all pretty much did what I felt like y'all need to do. I just didn't expect to actually see it, like beat the brakes off. And I kind of feel like maybe Nebraska will play a bit more for pride, but then I forgot y'all a top 10 team. So, yeah, I guess y'all surprised me put up as many points as y'all did, since y'all's offense was kind of suspect. The previous week against Kent State the week before.
Yeah,
y'all's offense at times was suspect in the first half, but obviously y'all faced up a lot better against Nebraska.
I mean, we could have put more points up against Nebraska if we really wanted to.
Yeah, we could have put 80 on them easily. And I think we waved the white flag in the third quarter. And so
hey, that didn't stop freaking Ohio State put up like 77 points against whoever they played.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was, we know what's going on. OU respects that team so much that they're not going to do that. They'll put points on it, but they ain't going to spank them. This isn't Texas.
So. I mean, if the second string puts on points, well, there's nothing we can do about that. You guys still have to play.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not going to do any trickery or unload the playbook on you.
Well, and even then,
a little bit of trickery.
Yeah, even a little bit they did, though. They unloaded a little bit of it. So, but I mean, overall with it, now that we're through 3 games as well, Justin, for what you've seen on it, how do you feel about this OU team right now?
I feel like y'all
the information you know.
I feel like y'all are still kind of in a tune-up mode, trying to figure some stuff out, mostly on offense. Y'all's defense seems to be solid for the most part. At least I don't really recall that many drives where y'all have bad lapses. But I think we'll start getting a true test this week when y'all play Kansas State. But I figure I know you're gonna get into that. Because Kansas State is never an easy place to play in football or in basketball, honestly.
Yeah. Well, only recently. Remember, until Bob Stoops went there, they were one of historically the worst football programs ever. Like, they were bad. They were bad. They're the ones who schedule on your homecoming weekend type of bad.
Okay, I do have another question that we can say for later about another Big 12 team. I'm wondering because they've actually been winning more than I'm used to seeing them win. But is Kansas actually kind of good?
No.
Well, we can delve.
That's a loaded question. That's a loaded question.
Let's put a pin on that because I want to throw my thoughts.
Yeah.
One, but that's going to be kind of our recap of the past couple days. But my thoughts of right now is I feel really good going into conference play with this team. Defense, you can't ask any more than what they've been doing. Defense has been spectacular. Outside of getting a little too aggressive and letting their emotions get a little bit ahead of them on certain stuff and then making dumb mistakes, Tackling is overnight better. They're not allowing yards after receptions. Defense is great. Offense still needs some tune up, and I think I'm mirroring what everybody's been saying. It's the quarterback play. I think some of it is on Dylan for throwing, not learning to throw it away. I also think too he's a better at-home quarterback. So some of those throws that were completely whiffed on Saturday, I think he could have made those at home. So I think it's just one of those where it's like, I feel good going into conference play. I'm back where I'm thinking of how, if OU's going to lose the game right now, how do they lose the game and to who? How are they going to exploit it? Because I can't think of a certain spot with it because everything's good outside of what Gavin said about inconsistent O-line play, and we'll know more going into the next third of the season. Looking at the schedule, looking ahead, we have Kansas State at home. Obviously, that's coming this Saturday. We then have at TCU and at Texas. Gavin, which in that order, which one worries you the most and which one does not worry you?
I would say the one that I always get worried about Texas, and the thing is, what worries me about Texas, because this is a lot with the health issues and stuff for the most part, but like with Quinn Ewers and everything, he's supposed to be coming back by the Oklahoma game.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing how he played against Alabama and everything, and how against that defense, now granted, Bama had some penalty issues and all that, but, if he was playing like that, against Bama like that, that's the one team I would probably be worried the most.
Yeah.
I mean,
Swiggy, what about you?
All I'm going to say about Ewers is anyone can have a good quarter at home. So, I mean, that's not diminishing what he did, but it's just, honestly, I don't really, unless you show me a full, like, if they had started blowing UT out in the first, not UT, if UT had started blowing Bama out in the first half with him and then he went down, I'd be a little bit more concerned, but we also don't know how much he's going to heal. We don't know if he'll be back. It's that it is concerning, but there are too many unknowns around Ewers right now. But yeah, I mean, Texas is the rivalry game. That's one that always has me concerned. TCU, I'm just not worried about. TCU, I'm just not that worried about.
At the moment, for me, I keep going back and forth, and I know it's rat poison on some of it.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily worried about K-State. Even though we're about to get into that, K-State, if you shut down their run, they cannot throw the ball because of them experience the Adrian Martinez experience at the moment. But I'm not necessarily worried about them.
You mean the starter was there for like 5 years?
Yeah, and he finally moved to Kansas State, and they want a refund. I don't know how I feel about TCU right now because they haven't played anybody. We'll get a real look at TCU against SMU this weekend. They had a week off, and I don't know how I feel about them just yet. Their head coach came from SMU, and he did really good things there. I don't know. I don't know what the read is on TCU on it because right now there's just not enough of a body of work to give us something. Texas. Go ahead.
Even then, you're right. He came from SMU, so even then, I don't think the SMU game is going to tell us that much because because SMU TCU is a big game for. That's a big game for TCU.
Correct. It's the inner city rivalry game for it.
Strange how SMU and TCU can make that work.
I know, right?
How odd. But okay, but regardless of that, yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying because we don't know on TCU, which I mean, those are always good questions. But that's kind of why I'm not scared of TCU. That's why I'm not like super worried about TCU. First year head coach, and yeah, I'm just not super concerned about TCU.
So I also agree in the sense with Texas would be my pick as well. Obviously, I mean, anybody with half a brain right now for this year should pick Texas. The big question for me is how healthy are they going to be going into that game? I don't know if Ewers is going to be ready going into that game, so I'm not sure. And they're pretty banged up right now. I don't know. All they have right now is Bijan Robinson because Xavier Worthy's dropping a lot of passes that should be catchable. that's their entire offense. So I don't know how confident I am on it, but if I took a look at the 3 games for it, I'd probably go Texas at that moment, but I don't think they have the most dangerous coach. I think Kleinman this weekend is the most dangerous one. Justin, so OU right now has Kansas State at home. Then they go to the Metroplex in Dallas with TCU. Kansas State is 2-1. TCU is 2-0 as of this video because they took the bye week very early. And then Texas is 2-1 because they lost to Bama. In your perception, what is OU's most dangerous game, and why is it Texas? Probably.
Well, I see that Kansas State just lost to Tulane in the membrane, 20-10.
Because they don't have an offense.
Yeah, I was going to say they must not have an offense. They don't score 10 points against Tulane. I'm not really sure how Tulane is, but well, I say, like you said, just I guess to stop the run. If that's like their only speck of offense, if they can't throw the ball for shit, I'd just say stack the box. Pretty much how like teams defend the pitiful excuse that's the Tennessee Titans. They basically stack the box as Derrick Henry and force right hand to hold the football.
Yep. Well, and that's the weird part, and I don't think y'all will disagree on it. Where if OU runs the table in these next 3, we're still not going to know a whole lot about this OU team, because if Texas is injured, Kansas State can't throw the ball, and TCU is underwhelming against SMU, we may realistically, and I'm not joking when I say that, we could realistically not even know what they look like until Kansas.
Yeah.
Because Kansas, depending on what Kansas does.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think you have to take the results as they're on the field. How do we do against that? How do we do against a possibly banged up Texas team? How do we, even if the Kansas State offense is one-sided, okay, cool, we know that, but we still have to, we still can't just take the past game lightly. We still, we still have to be able to win on the road. It's not, TCU isn't the most hostile territory, but that's still gonna be a road game, which is something that Gabriel and the offense have to deal with. So, I disagree. I think we can still learn enough about it and at least know who we are by then. I don't know. I don't think we can accurately predict a ceiling from that, but we'll at least know who we are.
I think, I'm in disagreement with that. I don't know if we will know unless those games they put up like a good fight at that point and they go with a lot of adversity for it. But who knows? I mean, we got 9 games to go. So with it. Now, recapping the rest of it. OU, obviously, they're number 6 in the AP poll. I'm surprised that they didn't move up, but sole fact for that is I guess it's because everybody above us is winning. I'm just surprised that they wouldn't do that. But maybe they're also saying that Nebraska isn't worthy of us to move up. Now, that is something to bring up as well. And I do want to throw this in is I think that's the big thing too is, I just forgot. But basically that not only is OU taking care of business. Oh, that's it. OU is also taking every game seriously. You and I, everybody in this chat knows that over the past couple of years, whether we liked it or not with Riley, there was games he did not take seriously, and it bit him in the butt sometimes on the field. Venables is not taking that approach. He's treating everyone, whether it's Kent State or Nebraska, as Alabama. And he is, at least for these first 3 games, he's treating it as it should be. So he is not going to get upset on it. So what were you going to say, Gavin?
I was going to say, going back to the AP deal, it's like, you got like with Bama, Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State in there. I'm just not surprised with like the way that they put them on there because, they're going to face each other and they're going to peck each other off. So I think if anything, we're in a good prime position, if anything, going further down the road. So I would not worry about where it is now. If we just take care of our own business and just focus one game at a time, just let's focus on our own road and then let the voters decide for themselves.
Exactly. And it doesn't matter until
the playoff
committee anyway. So it's like, it is what it is. So besides the AP poll with it, to answer your question, Justin, because I do want to dive a tiny bit into that for like 5 minutes before we preview K-State. I don't know. Leopold's doing some great things there, and as Kansas is winning, they're going to keep getting that confidence and get better on the field. Now, that being said, Swiggy and I discussed it at length of people were nuts thinking game day was going to go there this weekend. Like, there was people legitimately disappointed that game day didn't go to Duke. Why? There's no conference relevance to this. Kansas is not going to be in the Big 12 championship. They're going to go to Tennessee and Florida.
I'm about to say, yeah, I guess everybody wanted Duke and Kansas there because if there's any semblance of all at Kansas possibly being good, they would like the whole world to see for whatever reason.
Well,
I mean,
and the sole reason they wanted to be there. Well, and they wanted them there because this would be the first time since 2009 that Kansas would start 4-0 or win 4 games in general. This is not the time to do that. Like, they got to prove it.
Wasn't that during the years when they had what's his face, Charlie Weiss?
No, that was Mark Mangino.
Mark
Mangino.
The guy, the legend, Mark Mangino. Which all you know about Mangino,
where have I heard that name?
After he got fired due to abusing his football players, he never got another job again. He never got another job again. All you really need to know about what kind of guy Mangino is when he doesn't get a second chance.
Yeah. And interesting note, he was the OC for the 2000 national championship team as well.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. There's a lot on the Bob Stoops coaching tree that went off to become head coaches. Brent Venables included on that. But Mike was Leach, Mike.
Leach has gotten multiple chances. That just the fact that Mangino hasn't appeared anywhere again.
At least 3 specifically. Texas Tech, Washington State, now Mississippi State.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, and the flip side of it, though, is we got them before they went off the deep end. So that's okay. We got them while they were still tempered.
Mike was always off the deep end, though.
Yeah, I think the first time I saw Mike Leach was those years that are actually pretty good. Whatever year that was when they had what's his face, Michael Crabtree.
Yeah, 2008 Texas Tech.
And that's when Texas Tech was getting better, and then Mike Leach decided to throw players.
Was that around the same time where Texas had Colt McCoy?
Yeah, that was about the same time.
Yeah, about the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, that 2008 Big 12 South was a Wild West.
But
it was. Yeah.
But I mean, I get why people want it. I mean, game day went to Troy Appalachian State.
That was crazy. Because I remember seeing some video after they beat Texas A&M, and the whole campus was like celebrating in the streets.
And one fun fact about the Appalachian State thing, that game ended in Hail Mary. That's the first time a college game day game has ended with a Hail Mary walk-off since Wisconsin-Michigan State, when our good friend Kirk Cousins did it for Michigan State.
Yep. And it's been a long time.
The last time, 2011.
2011.
The last time Kirk Cousins could play at night.
Ouch.
He still can't play on Monday Night Football.
Exactly.
Ouch. I will say, Justin, I think everyone's unsure about Kansas at the moment. Yeah. I think everyone's leaning on the safe side that they could be a 6-6 bowl team. Nobody knows how actually decent they are with it. But I'll tell you right now, I do not believe their head coach when he's like, we moved to Kansas, not to move. Yeah, he's getting called up by Nebraska right now. So I'll leave it at that. The only other thing was, did y'all see the thing on Arizona State?
I was about to ask. I was really about to ask about that, about the Herm Edwards thing.
Herm Edwards. Oh goodness.
I'm pretty sure
that PTSD about Tebow. I mean, I'm sorry. He has a new nickname that I have found. He is now Benedict Brisket. About him doing his shit when he was catering to USC for it. This is like the exact same thing, except a mutiny.
I mean, that's also. I mean, if that did happen, honestly, those guys should. None of those coaches should be in college football again.
You get a pink slip. Get a pink slip. Everybody.
I'm 100% serious about that because if they were leaking stuff, not only can I not trust you, but number two, and this is also going to affect certain legal aspects.
Correct.
If that information found its way into the hands of gamblers, which it definitely did. If they were doing that, someone in Vegas got that information, and you'd have to look at the lines on Arizona. You have to look at the lines on Arizona State. But if there was some movement at some point that didn't make any sense at the time, so if they were doing that, none of you cannot hire any of those guys ever again anywhere.
Yeah,
you just can't.
You can't. So, anything I missed from it? Because I want to throw our trivia question up for the day as we delve right into Kansas State a little bit.
I never really understood why Arizona State hired Herman Edwards to begin with.
He's a name, and he wanted the job.
I mean, yeah, and he was on that Monday Night Countdown with the rest of the crew, and he was still relevant with his NFL days with the Jets.
Well, maybe just like with Urban Meyer, he'll probably go right back to being like in a broadcast booth, or like Monday night kind of.
No, man, Urban's going to Nebraska. That's what a janitor told me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was your uncle at Nintendo. Get it right.
Oh you're right. Sorry, you're right. My uncle at Nintendo totally says that Urban Meyer was meeting with Nebraska. Honestly, if that does happen, I get why Nebraska does it, but that's either gonna be heaven, or you're crashing the cornmobile into the oven and it's just over.
He wasn't even that great. He wasn't even that great of an NFL coach, honestly.
No, he was.
No.
He
had like one memorable press conference.
Yeah, the one where they found the people out dancing on him. Anyway,
no, that's the one where he says you play to win the game.
You mean Herm Edwards? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm talking to Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
Urban Meyer. Oh God. Okay, we'll get started.
Yeah.
Hey man, Urban wanted to spend time with someone's children. That's all we know about him.
See, now you can't give him corn now because we don't know what he'll do with it. Anyway, so our trivia question of the day, guys. I kind of reached a little bit because I tried to find a Kansas State one, but I could not. So,
Marvel Comics, he don't care.
He probably doesn't like corn. So, in Marvel Comics Siege storyline, Asgard, which has been hovering and floating above the fake town of Braxton, Oklahoma, was destroyed. This is back like 2012, 2013. There is an OU link to it. Which OU game caused the Rider to destroy it? To destroy Asgard? Oh. Yes, and this is a true story. So I'm going to start Justin on this one. Justin, do you have any idea what game caused the Rider to be so upset that he destroyed Asgard?
I'm guessing y'all lost to an out-of-conference team or something.
Okay. That's a good answer,
because that would be plausible if you like such an OU fan who's so pissed off about that he just tried to change the storyline of his story. That probably get him wild up enough, I guess.
That's fair. That's a good one. Gavin, what are you thinking? So Justin said obviously it's because OU lost a game.
Oh man. I'm so lost in this because I do not know anything about Marvel Comics or anything like that.
But it does have an OU connection. I swear it does.
I know. It's... Oh, man, this is going to be tough. Okay, I know this is going to go way, way back, but I'm maybe thinking the 2003 Kansas State game in the Big 12 Championship. I'm going to go with that. I know it's far back, but that's what I'm going to go that far back.
Okay, so you're saying about not 8 years before the comic line, he's bitter about that. Okay, Swiggy, what's your answer? I know, and y'all are gonna go what?
I'm going to say. Who wrote? I'm trying to remember who wrote Siege. I think he was from Ohio. I'll go Cincinnati.
Okay. So, by the way, I had this fact up as I was forming all of our trivia stuff several months before actually Barry Trammell wrote about this. The answer is the 2014 Sugar Bowl. The Rider was a huge Alabama fan. And his beloved Crimson Tide got beat in 2014. And he said, well, this was kind of the closest thing he could do to get revenge was to blow up Asgard in Oklahoma and take it out of the storyline. So, fun fact of the day. So, yeah, didn't know. If you didn't know that, now you do. Like I said, I try to find really good trivia stuff, not just what was the number of Brent Venables played in Kansas State, that type of stuff. So, we are now, though, in our second segment. We're already 15 minutes in. There's a lot to talk about. Let's dive right in. So, Kansas State. Kansas State comes up this Saturday. It's going to probably be OU's real first opponent of the year. Yes, Nebraska is a Power 5 team. Nebraska was also coach shopping at this point. So, I don't think OU's biggest challenge at that time was probably UTEP. Let's be honest, it was probably UTEP for it, and they took care of business. Well, now you're entering conference play this weekend, and you face a team that has given OU a lot of trouble in the past 10 years. When you take a look at their past 10 years of their meetings, Kansas State has beaten OU 3 times in Norman. 2 of them were under Bill Snyder, and one of it was back-to-back in 19 and 20 for it. Now, it's not like they did an ass whooping. They did a it was like by 1 score type of deal with it. But they kind of replaced in the 2010s OU's other thorn in their side, Texas Tech, at that point. So when Texas got Coach Bro, K-State kind of had their one for us. So keeping that all in mind, when you really dive, though, into the stats, at least on it, there's a couple things that kind of popped out to me, and feel free to mirror it back to me. It seems like Kansas State has a very, very great defense. They have Deuce Vaughn on their offense, and that's kind of it because, like I mentioned earlier, they are going through the Adrian Martinez experience, and they are having a lot of buyer's remorse because he can't throw the ball worth anything on it. Their pass game does not exist. So my thought is going into this game, load the box up, stop Deuce Vaughn, just like you did with Grant against Alabama or against Nebraska, and dare Adrian Martinez to throw it because he can't throw it. And this isn't something where I think it's going to be like a Tebow instance where we're going to do that and then they're going to look like a Heisman winner. No, I genuinely believe like you load the box up, there's going to be a lot of pressure, and it's going to result in a lot, making him run for his life and giving him a headache the entire day. When I also took a look at all the stats as well, when you really delve into it, Oklahoma is number 18 total offense. To get an idea of how bad their passing game is, Kansas State is 96 total offense. That's not good. That means you cannot score for obvious reasons for it. And feel free to jump in. I'm just throwing some stats out there to kind of build you all the picture for it. But
yeah, I was going to say too, and the one thing, the numbers that might not talk about, and this is something that, that's gone on that we've talked about time and time again with Kansas State. Even though they might not have the offense or anything, they've always played more with a disciplined style of football. And we've seen this over the years. Like over the years, they rely on the talent that they usually have and everything. But if we don't get the discipline against Kansas State, that discipline comes back and hurts us. To where we've lost games in the past. I mean, if you take a look at going back to 2012. We turned the ball over, 3 times. Same in 2014. 2019, we kind of kept shooting ourselves in the foot. 2020, we, had the lack of discipline there. If anything, I would love to see, if anything, of how disciplined can we go against a Kansas State team. That's how Snyder, always taught was, discipline.
Has the discipline, though, been passed on to Kleinman, though? I know Kleinman's a national championship winning coach under North Dakota State, but has that been passed on? How penalized, I guess, are they, is my question.
I think I think if anything,
he's in his 3rd year there, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, he's under his 3rd year.
Let's see here. Current most penalized teams are, come on, what is it? Back.
Yeah, here we go.
List, yeah.
So, we'll take 2020 was his first year, right? Or was it 2019?
I think it was 2019 was his first year. 2019 was his first year.
Okay, so 2019, based on, because I'm curious on that too, Gavin.
So Kansas State has 17 penalties this year, which would make them tied for 42nd in the NCAA. Right now, they're at 5.67 penalties a game. For perspective, OU is currently tied for 51 with 18 penalties, 6 a game.
Which, yeah, so OU is penalized a little bit more per game at this point. I'm trying to see, well, I think they become a little bit, when I'm going through these stats, by the way, Gavin, as I'm looking through it, it almost seems like Kansas State may have lost some of their edge because they're starting to be in the lower, I'll have to see how it's interpreted from it. But that being said, well, discipline is definitely a big one for it. And, Kansas State is known for that. I think the other thing that sticks out to me, though, on it, not just with their defense and stuff as well, but the big thing that I noticed when I was just compiling all the stats together, they don't get into the backfield a whole lot. Felix Uzama, I think I'm saying his name right, but he's like number 3 in the Big 12. Reggie Grimes is obviously number 1, but when you go national, he doesn't even break it. Like nationally, like he's like number 30, but that's where that breaking point starts, where it's like everybody has 2 sacks, kind of it, like how everybody has 1 touchdown. That's something I noticed, but I also noticed too, as much as lauded as Kansas State is, if you also look at the flip side of it, if you look at total like number of tackles, total number of sacks, OU has Danny Stutzman, Billy Bowman, David I can never say his name. David
Ugwebu.
Ogwebu, thank you. Canek, Broyles, and Deshaun White, all in double digits. Kansas State only has Austin Moore. So to me, that is a lot of missed tackles that are going on at that point as well, or they're running out of bounds a whole lot. So I think if you're OU facing off against Kansas State's offense, I think you load the box up, you stop Deuce Vaughn because he's good. He's I think it was number 13 I had on it nationally. He's going to run the ball, but you dare Adrian Martinez to throw the ball and hope Billy Bowman, Woody Washington, and everybody else in the backfield is able to turn the ball over while also blitzing him. I think if you blitz, Reggie Grimes is going to eat his lunch all day. Offensive wise with it, I don't know for it just yet. I'm still been going back and forth, I'll be honest, on it, because if you take a look at their other stuff as well, there's not really a place you can exploit them on the defense stuff with it, because their run defense is solid and their pass defense is also very, very solid as well. It seems like maybe they're run a little bit more with their D-line, but even then, if you take a look at their starting lineups, there's only like 1 guy on each side of the ball that's in the trenches that's an underclassman. So that's kind of a thing that stuck out to me with it. I think you almost have to exploit and hope that you can out-talent them at that point.
Yeah. I mean, Kansas. I mean, look. I mean, we saw it last year too, where even though we should have put K-State away a lot earlier than we did, they still fought to the end. They were still trying. I mean, they didn't. I mean, those teams do not give up. And that's
no.
And to me, that's the biggest thing, is that even if we take a lead, we can't just rest on our laurels and say, "Oh, it's 28-7 mid-third quarter. We got this." No, you have to look. You have to look as, okay, we're up by 3 points.
Right. Basically, don't take your foot off the gas.
Yeah.
You play it as your 0-0. That's the way to play it.
Yep.
See, and I think too, you can't take advantage of it being at home. I do think the guys are going to be juiced essentially because it's a night game and it's at home, but you can't say, oh, we're going to have the home field advantage. I don't think that's going to be the case here. Me personally, I think the significance part of it, and it's going to depend on O-line play, which Gavin mentioned earlier. We got to make sure they're consistent on it. You run the ball, but is Marcus Major going to have this great game? Is Eric Gray going to have a great game? I mean, we saw Eric Gray basically have a breakout game against Nebraska finally after about a year and a half. Yeah. Is that going to translate to the next game? I don't know. Marcus Major struggled a little bit, but we also passed them to death at that point as well. So I think there's a whole picture with it. I think the big thing going. Go ahead. I've been talking a lot. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say too, and one thing I was going to mention too is that OU's offense, it's a lot of RPO play. So it's a lot of it is basically in Gabriel's hands, to where he's mostly reading linebackers and the safeties all game. And, he's just going to give what the safeties get. If those safeties and linebackers are going to start crashing down and everything, he's going to start throwing right away. But if they decide to just, step back and not get beat deep, then they're just going to hand the ball off every single time. That's basically one thing I have been seeing a whole lot within these 3 games, though, too. And going into Kansas State, when you're realizing that you're going to be playing against like one of the best, solid defenses right now, you gotta have to make sure you get those reads right, because if you don't, Kansas State will take your money and run with it.
Yeah, and that's something else I was thinking of with our RPOs. Our line has got to be careful for ineligible man downfield. They are. They've been super aggressive calling it the past couple of years. So I thought we did a better job. But yeah, against K-State, if there's any kind of, there's any kind of hesitance or any kind of we're going a little too slow, gotta watch out for stuff like that to pop up, because K-State could easily take advantage of that, get Gabriel moving just a little slow, and then flag an ineligible man downfield, 5-yard penalty, replay second down.
Yeah, I think one of the big things too is thinking into this game as well. I honestly do not know, because I did not find it, or I was not looking hard enough. I'm curious on what scheme Kansas State runs. I know OU runs like the spread offense and stuff. I wonder what they run, but it also makes me kind of rabbit hole as well. Are we going to see more play action? Because if there's something Dylan, I got to give him credit for. He knows that delayed handoff really well. And that was just throwing Nebraska off left and right once they made some adjustments. I also, my joking side too is I think we'll be fine, because Brent Venables is a student of dark purple wizard magic. And, when you know the secrets of the wizard, you're able to counter them. But jokes aside, I'm curious. My gut initially from Saturday was, they lost to Tulane. Well, that's going to be easier for us. I backtracked a little bit on it, where it's like, well, it is Kansas State. This is still going to be OU's true first challenge. And I think this is going to be our first read on OU. Going back to the previous 3 games as well, I keep thinking where it's like, how do I want to say this? Where we kept doing the summarizing with OU, like what's our thoughts with it. I think this game will determine that Nebraska game was not a fluke, and that this team is solid and they're just getting better, or it's going to show like we're going to get exposed a bit. I think it's going to go one of 2 directions at this point.
Yeah. And one thing to note too, like sometimes like those Kansas State losses and everything, like whenever they played OU, after those losses that they should have won, they've come out, at a total 180 and just somehow beat our butts, for, the past couple of times.
Right. And we can't, I think this is a team though that OU is going to take very seriously with it, not just because of the ties and them just being a thorn. I think they've circled this game knowing they have to take care of business here, that they need to beat Kansas State for this. I will say, off topic, I am disappointed that Kansas State lost, because I seriously do believe if Kansas State won, it was going to be a top 25 matchup, and I do believe game day would have been there over Tennessee and Florida. But who knows? So, any final thoughts on the Kansas State one? Like I said, my game strategy on it would be for defensive side, load the box up, dare Adrian Martinez to throw it. On our side, probably run the ball. Focus on running the ball. Of course, keep him honest with Marvin Mims. Make sure Mims gets involved, but definitely exploit a little bit of that run a little bit of that weakness with the run.
My final thoughts. There are too many teams named the Wildcats and whose main color is purple. Please eliminate 3.
Okay, we can eliminate Kansas State. That it's funny. I cracked that joke a while back. There's too many cats, there's too many eagles, and there's too many bulldogs. Some of y'all need to get a different mascot. There is something I will add, Swiggy, that you made me think of. Looking at their starting lineup based on their players, the players to me that they need to watch out for, obviously Deuce Vaughn. I think we are all in agreement on this. Deuce Vaughn needs to be the circle on that team. He's their best player. I also think in rushing, you do have to take into account DJ Giddens and Malik Knowles, because they have all. Deuce, surprisingly, is not finding the end zone, but those other 2 are. So I think you have to actually watch out for them as well for it. Additionally, let me bring my notes back up. I always have notes, it seems like. On the defensive side of the ball, receiving, Malik Knowles, same thing. He can do receiving and he does the rushing. But on the defensive side of the ball, you got to watch out for Austin Moore, but also to Felix. Even though he's number 30 in the nation, he is getting into the backfield with sacks at that point. But overall, our defense has more of the stud players, and they're more of the ones making plays versus Kansas State. So rumor too is, by the way, guys, if you didn't see it, rumor is we're getting alternate uniforms this weekend.
Gasps.
Oh no.
Well, it's to honor Leroy Selmon and the brothers at that point. So and Mr. John, appreciate you joining the chat. We've missed you. Big shout out to him. He brought up a good point. They're gonna have to channel the Selmon brothers. You can't lose this day. You cannot lose on it because, gotta wait to put the statue up, driving around Norman for a couple days. But yes, it is a significant game for that. I'll definitely be happy to see the Selmon brothers statue unveiled. Gotta bring pride to the Selmons. But any final thoughts on this Kansas State game? We'll do our prediction at the end for it. But any final thoughts?
Nope. Nope. Just need to go in, take care of business.
Gavin, any final thoughts? Anything I didn't cover? Something that you mentioned discipline. Was there anything offense or defense side?
I would just say when OU has the ball, let's just see how they line up in the box and, just kind of go from there. That's all I can say. It's just a box game.
Is there one thing that worries you? Is it the O-line still?
It's the O-line, and I will say, Wanye Morris, I think, came back. I think it was in the 3rd series with Nebraska.
And boy, was he a difference maker.
I think he was a little bit of a difference, but the thing is, I think it was just kind of gelling into it a little bit. But I that's kind of where I feel like, because it's a, and it's the one thing that you love and hate about the RPOs is because they'll get and Swiggy already mentioned it about that 5, the ineligible man downfield. It's one of those offenses to where you love it, as a play caller, but you also hate it because you run the risk, because it's you can't fault your court, the lineman, because you're basically treating it as a run even though you're passing. It's just one of those things to where you have to look at it as a play caller. So that's my biggest take.
Gotcha. Justin, do you have any thoughts on it as well? We've kind of covered a lot, but I just want to make sure I threw you in on it as well. Are you going to watch the game? It's going to be on Fox.
Depends on what time it is.
7 o'clock. Well, for you, 8 o'clock, because you're in Eastern, aren't you?
Yeah, I should be home by then, I believe. I'm going to do a birthday dinner for my friend, but I should be back by then.
Right. Oh, you're in Central, so 7 o'clock. So
yeah,
it'll be on Fox. So, but do you have any thoughts on the K-State game? Anything like that?
Not really.
Kind of covered it.
Yeah, you pretty much covered everything.
I will say, I think this is Deuce Vaughn's last year at K-State, so I'll definitely be. He's been a thorn in our side, but he's very talented. I can't wait to see what he does in the NFL and tear it up. So, that being said, let's go into our next segment at this point. I'll add this up here. I want to thank everybody who joined in, subscribed. Please share the channel with people, guys. I love having y'all interact. I love thanking y'all for it because without you guys, we're just talking into the void. But even though we enjoy talking into the void, but we have 3 new subscribers, guys. We're up to 177 total, and all 3 of them were hidden. But whoever y'all are, thank you again for subscribing. I hope you enjoyed the content that not only myself brings you, but Justin, Gavin, Swiggy, and when Sean comes on, Sean as well. So all right. Do y'all want to do picks before we rant a little bit, or do you want to rant and then do picks?
Let's get some picks in.
Okay, let me bring it up really fast.
Let's get some picks in.
All right. So then if I can get that's rundown, that's times. It's funny because I always try to find my stuff. Here it is. Haha. There we go. Okay. 1 second. Let me share my screen because I did something a little bit different this go around.
Oh boy.
Share. So y'all get I may not be able to do this. 1 second. I'm going to try something a little bit different then. I don't know why it's not letting me share the screen. I know how I can do this. We'll do it this way. If I can do a file. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Aha, there it is. Found it. Sorry about that. So, can you see?
Yes.
You can?
Oh, yes.
Goody. I think this is going to be much better going forward, so y'all can definitely see it versus me telling it to you. So I got to go back and calculate everything, guys. It's just been very, very busy. So, however, I picked out 5 games for us because we're still waiting on the FCS game. It seems like they're picking it lately on the Friday versus that. So, just like before, whenever the FCS game appears, I will let y'all know that. And we'll just do the pick. So, however, we're going to start. So, College Game Day decided over the Kansas Jayhawks that they were going to go to Tennessee because they could potentially, for the first time in a long time, beat Florida in the swamp. Beat Florida for it. So, Tennessee is favored 10.5 right now, and it's at Tennessee, and it's a 2:30 kick. At some point, we'll make it where everybody can pick at the same time, but we'll start Andrew. Andrew, do you got Tennessee or do you got Florida?
On the one hand, I hate how Florida has played, and they really should have lost their game last week, too. On the other hand, man, as much as I'm very, you know what? Great job, Heupel. Great job so far. But that's such a Tennessee move, giving him a crazy long-term contract after like 3 games.
Yeah.
You know what? I really don't think Florida's that good. I think the Utah game is kind of screwed with people's minds. I'm taking Tennessee, and I think they'll cover.
So you think they're going to cover 10.5?
Yep, I think they're going to cover 10.5. I feel pretty. Yeah, I feel certain about that.
All right. I can agree with that. Gavin, who do you got?
I mean, it's hard to kind of stop Tennessee's offense at this point. So I think Tennessee wins, and I think Tennessee will cover.
All right. Got some stuff here. All right, Justin. By the way, this is in alphabetical order. I will always go like after Justin. But Justin, do you have it in you to potentially pick Tennessee? Or are you going to say, despite them, you're going to pick Florida?
No, I'm picking Tennessee, and they will cover. Mostly, like Andrew said, I'm not really that impressed by Florida, especially how they almost crapped the bed against South Florida last week.
Gotcha.
And maybe Utah. Maybe Utah's just not that good.
That's the case. It is the Pac-12. That could be the case. I'm also in agreement. I am also going Tennessee. I do like what Heupel is doing, and I am also going to go with Tennessee 10.5. I'm worried that they're going to get nervous against Florida, but I don't think this is going to be the case. If they get over Florida, I think they're going to be rearing to go, ready to potentially beat a down Alabama team this year. But I like what Heupel's doing. I think Florida doesn't have a good enough offense to stop them. Give me Tennessee. So next up, we've got the big noon kickoff game. Is going to be Maryland at Michigan. 11 a.m. kick. Gavin, who do you got for me? Did we lose Gavin?
Oh, no, I'm here. I'm gonna go Michigan.
Michigan, and they are favored at
And
16.5. Do you think they're going to do the 16.5?
yeah, I will say, I can't remember. Is it the new quarterback that they've put in, and he's been pretty good so far. So I think they will cover because I think it fits Michigan, to a T.
Okay. Justin, who do you got? Do you got Maryland or Michigan?
I got Michigan, and Michigan will cover.
Any particular reason for Michigan covering?
Probably more because it's at Ann Arbor. I don't know a whole lot about Maryland and their situation.
Gotcha. So I'm also in agreement. I'm going to take Michigan at the 16.5 because I'll be honest, I think Maryland's absolutely terrible. And Michigan's just been blowing people out. I don't think it's their year to win the Natty, but they've been making moves on it. I think with everybody's return, they're good. Andrew, are you going to join us?
So for the record, I hate Michigan. Grew up in Ohio.
Well, yeah, because you're an Ohio State fan.
I am the worst person, a Sooner and Buckeye fan.
Yes,
you got to pick one.
I pick the Sooners when we play. Yeah, it's Michigan. They're going to cover. Maryland's that bad. I like this Michigan team has looked different over the last couple of years. Harbaugh finally seems to have found a quarterback. So Michigan, and they will cover.
All right.
So it tells me Andrew threw up in his mouth a little bit when he said that.
Just a little.
I get the feeling with Andrew that he didn't throw up because winning is more important, but he doesn't have to like it.
Yeah, but he can.
Yeah, doesn't mean I gotta like it.
Yeah, so I got a hard one for y'all next. Minnesota at Michigan State. For those of y'all that remember, Michigan, I believe Michigan State is ranked at the moment. However, Minnesota has that quarterback back who got injured last year, and he's been making moves. And Minnesota is favored by 3 because of that reason. Remember, they gave Ohio State a game before he was out for the rest of the season. I think it was the ACL tear.
Yeah, he tear his ACL in the first game against Ohio State last year.
Absolutely. So, that all being said, Justin, who do you got for me? It's Minnesota 3-0 versus Michigan State 2-1. And I believe Minnesota's favored 3, and I believe kickoff is 2:30, but I am going to check that.
And okay, let me get this straight. Michigan State is ranked. They're the underdog, and the game's at Michigan State.
Yes. That's how good this quarterback is at Minnesota. I'm going to bring it up, though, just so I know what time kickoff is, because that does affect stuff.
I mean, they're the same time zone, I think. No, maybe Michigan's an hour ahead.
Oh, they're in the same time zone, but I mean, there's a difference of someone having a kickoff at 9:00 at night, and they're not used to that versus another one. So, I mean, that's one of those things. But Michigan State is also ranked as well. And I forgot to put. That's one thing I have to remember going forward. I have to put the ranks as well. So
it's honestly a coin toss up for me because I don't really know anything about this Minnesota guy. So I'm just gonna say Michigan State bounces back after that humiliating loss against BYU last week.
Washington.
Yeah, Washington. Yes.
Gotcha. So FYI,
BYU got blown out by Oregon. My bad.
Yeah. So you're gonna take Michigan State.
Same part of the country.
Fair enough. And are you taking them? So you're going to have them. So that means they're going to cover.
Yes.
Okay. So FYI, it's at 2:30.
Wrong box, by the way. That's Andrew's box.
Oh, you're right. My bad. All right. Now we'll go back. All right. Andrew, are you feeling the same hate towards Michigan State, or are you feeling the Gophers?
You know what? I think this is total overreaction. Mel Tucker at Michigan State normally coaches really well. His only problem is when things go bad, they go really bad. I just don't see that happening 2 weeks in a row to them. Michigan State's going to win, and they'll cover.
Wow. Okay. I like this.
Seriously, I saw the score at one point. I was out of the Michigan State watching the game last week. Like, Jesus Christ. I was like, Jesus Christ, what's Chris Peterson doing to them?
So I realized I messed the order up. I'm supposed to go after Justin, but I will tell y'all right now, I'm a believer. Give me Michigan State, and Minnesota is going to cover. I need to put that on yours for Michigan State.
Josh, when you lose, don't you know Gopher sees the shadow? It's 10 more weeks of summer.
Shit.
And I don't think I don't think kind of like I think I thought shit in Tennessee.
That doesn't matter in Oklahoma because we're gonna have 10 more weeks of summer anyway. Don't you know? We're in heat misers territory.
It was freaking 100 degrees here in the last day of summer, first day of fall. But I saw somebody in my elevator at the office I work at. I said today it was the summer's death rattle. You would think.
Yeah. Cold coming through tonight, so who knows?
Yeah, it's coming close. Gavin, are you joining me in the Gophers, or do you believe Michigan State's going to bounce back?
You know, I'm going to row the boat with Minnesota, and I think Minnesota will cover.
All right. What? Any particular reason? Are you rolling with me of why?
The reason why is because I think with the quarterback play, you know, I think they will definitely be like one of the teams that you would probably need to keep an eye out for in the Big Ten West, because I just don't think they get enough recognition other than Wisconsin, because Wisconsin always brings up. But this Minnesota team, you know, someone that you want to keep an eye out on the West.
That's fair. All right, next one up. I'll be honest, this one was a very difficult one to pick because I had no idea what to put here. There was nothing really out of the ACC that really was interesting outside the Duke-Kansas game. For it, I'm like, I got to find something, and Pac-12 still needed something. So we got
you could have gotten Wake Forest and Clemson. That was a top 25 right there.
Yeah, but Clemson's going to win that game.
Yeah.
I will absolutely come back if Clemson does not win, but I feel like this was a nice little one to throw a kink into everything.
Yeah, besides, from what I've seen by the scores, Wake Forest can't stop anybody.
Yeah, that's why I'm worried. I know Clemson doesn't have a good offense, but Wake Forest don't have a good anything. That being said, we've got Arizona at Cal, and I think this is going to determine their season at this point. If Cal's going to have a solid season, or if Arizona is going to be above 600. Now, I'm going to be honest. It's a 12:30 kick their time. I'm going Cal. I think Cal will cover at the -3 as well. I have more faith. Arizona, they just don't have a good track record. I need to be a believer, and right now this is not the time to be the believer. Andrew, what are you thinking?
I'm going Cal, but I don't think they cover. I think it ends up being one of those really fun Pac-12 games that you get every now and then, where the teams are both kind of trash. And it comes down to a last-second play, but you have a lot of fun watching it the whole time. And I mean, Cal took Notre Dame down to the wire. I'm a believer in Cal this week.
That's me. That is kind of why. Gavin, who do you got for me? Do you got Arizona, or are you feeling the Golden Bears?
I gotta go with the Golden Bears, and I think they'll probably go ahead and cover as well. I just think if anything, I have not seen anything from Arizona, and it's just hard for me to kind of root for them, if anything, at this point.
Okay, Justin, last one.
I'll make it unanimous going Cal, and they'll cover. I don't really have a football reason, only because I have a vendetta against the state of Arizona right now. Not just for Herm Edwards, but freaking Rob Sarver.
That's fair. All right, last one up before the OU pick. All right, we've got Duke, who is 3-0 at Kansas, 3-0. Kansas is favored by 7.5. They have a sellout right now, according to the Kansas State website. They are energized and could go for the first time in about 13 years 4-0. Andrew,
When is that game?
It is at 11 a.m.
I'm actually let's see. If I'm at my house, I'm actually watching a little bit of that. I might be playing disc golf that morning, but I might watch a little bit of that.
I mean, they really wanted College Game Day there.
Yeah, it would have been insane too. Their football team hasn't been good in since 2009.
Yeah. 2009.
Yeah, so 13 years. So yeah,
it was 2007, 2008.
A couple years ago, we had College Game Day here in Memphis. I think that was the weekend we played SMU. It was bumping.
Yeah.
You saw how, but it was bumping last week at Boone, North Carolina for Appalachian State.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. I watch more of those for the atmosphere of the College Game Day show.
Yeah.
You
got what? Andrew.
I am not a believer in Kansas. I'm going Duke for the upset.
Wow. Okay.
So your case it'd be upset in quotes.
Upset. I mean, this definitely feels like a game that Kansas should win, but they played Tennessee Tech. They had to go to OT against West Virginia. The score is kind of misleading because they had that pick 6 at the end. And while they did do a good job against Houston, I'm taking Duke. I just have a feeling on Duke.
Okay. Gavin, who do you got for me?
Wait a minute. This is not basketball schools that we're talking about here?
I know. That's why they wanted College Game Day out there with the actual basketball ones.
I thought this was basketball we were talking about here, people. Oh, my goodness.
It might as well be. I mean,
yeah.
Can you imagine a game between those two at a freaking Allen Fieldhouse?
Oh yeah, and what's next? North Carolina and Kentucky playing against each other. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna go Kansas, but Duke covers the spread. Okay, I'm gonna go Kansas, but I think it's gonna be where it's gonna be decided by a field goal.
Okay, that's fair. Justin, are you feeling Rock Chalk Jayhawk, or are you feeling whatever Duke says? Because I don't know Dukes.
I'm only saying this because I have a personal connection with Kansas because my sister graduated there and I went to a music camp there for a couple of years. And I kind of want to believe that Kansas is kind of good again. So I'll go with them. And I'll also go with Gavin saying that Kansas does not cover. It'll be by a field goal.
Okay. I'm going to go with Kansas as well. And I'm going to be different from all y'all because it seems like when I've gone different, it's worked out. I will say Kansas is going to cover the spread. Let's go. Rock Chalk Jayhawk be the different one. All right.
Boo.
All right. Last one, guys. So we've got Kansas State 2-1 at OU 3-0. OU is favored by 13 points, 7:00 p.m. I am going to go first on it. I think OU is going to win. And I'm going to say, based on their scores, based on what they're doing, I'm going to go on a leap because I've gone back and forth. OU will cover for the sole reason is Kansas cannot score, and OU is just going to make their lives a living hell. So we've got Gavin. Who do you got for me? Do you got our Boomer Sooners?
Yes, I got them, and I'm going to say they'll cover with the way the defense and offense are playing together cohesively. So.
1 second. Whoop. Oh, that's what it is. Okay, so you said repeat that. So you got OU and who to cover?
I got OU covering.
Gotcha. Same reason? Any other reason?
I mean, they're more cohesive together unit than Kansas State. So
that's fair. Justin, who do you got for me?
Whoop. Well, the screen went dark, but I'll also
there we go.
I'll also go Sooners, and I'll also say they cover because, like as we discussed, Kansas State doesn't have offense for crap. You got to put up points if you want any prayer of being the Sooners.
All right, Andrew, you're the last one.
Sooners, and they are going to cover. I do not trust Adrian Martinez. Especially after how bad they looked against Tulane last week.
Tulane in the membrane.
It's going to be tough.
Tulane in the brain.
That's one of those lines. It's tough to cover. But I think the defense shows up, and I just don't think that Kansas State has enough offense. Like I think if OU puts up 28 points, I just don't see how they put up 17. So
I don't disagree with you on that, and I absolutely agree. I think Nebraska had buyer's remorse with the Adrian Martinez experience, and I think Kansas State is also having that as well. So, yeah, I agree. So, yeah, we got our picks, guys. You'll have your totals and stuff next week as we go into week 5, and it'll be fun. So, we got this is usually our mark, but this is vent time. Let's vent a little bit. It's time to lay some smackdown down. So, for 15 minutes, let's go. So, Swiggy, Gavin, Justin, little brother decided to get on their little high horse today because apparently they wanted to act like Hartman and say it was OU's fault that Bedlam ended. Last I checked, what's stopping them from scheduling us? Even after, and let's go roll with it. Let's say 2037 is the next time they can schedule us. What's stopping them from doing it? Oh, we already have stuff scheduled for these other teams. Do y'all know how easy it is to cancel a game? But we'll have to pay it out. No, you won't. Like,
yeah, come on.
This is a cheap excuse.
Games get moved around and get canceled all the time. I get.
Correct.
I get being annoyed that Bedlam is ending. I get it. You know what? I don't blame people for being mad about it. But at the same time, there's nothing that says we can't schedule it every 3 years or so, or every other year, or even every 5 years if you're really interested in it.
Correct.
Like there's nothing that's preventing that. And especially, with more realignment, we may end up being in a world where we can do another conference game. So
correct.
There's legitimately nothing stopping them, and it can be worked out. But you know what? OK State, when it comes to football, they like to have a victim complex.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's like I know I don't like bringing this up with them. But it's kind of like how some people, instead of just saying, "Oh, Iowa State beat us on a weird Thursday night game," some people brought up the tragedy that happened with that plane crash that year with them. That, come on, guys, come on. It's tragic. It happened, but you blew your shot against Iowa State. Oklahoma State likes a victim complex. It's how they are, and for them, they'd rather play victim and decide, you know what? I don't really, instead of trying to come up with a solution with it. Because I guarantee you this, if OSU came out and said, hey, we want to try and work this out, even publicly said we want to work out a game every 3 to 5 years, that pressure OU, and that pressure OU a bit, and we'd have to come up with a way, and we could try and start there. Instead, well, man, we've tried nothing, and we're all out of ideas.
That's a good one, because I was thinking of it where it was not just the Cartman thing, but like the Hannibal beam kills Bedlam. Why would OU do this? It's not us. But you moved to the SEC, so we can't play each other. Oh, are we conveniently forgetting that we played each other like for 45 years before they joined the Big 8, and OU and Texas played each other until until 96 when they joined the Big 12? Are we also forgetting as well where they're like, well, if we do that, we're going to have like 11 Power 5 teams on our schedule.
Yeah.
Then rearrange it. Because guess what? Whether OSU likes it or not, you want to know the dirty secret, and I'm gonna throw it out there because I'm cashing in the receipts today.
Mm-hmm.
OU made OSU's program. They don't want to admit that, but it's the truth. Any moment, anything associated, it's all because of us. You know how I know this as well? Because their biggest donor, the one on their stadium that they're so proud of, he didn't donate for them to win a national championship. He donated for them to beat OU. Yeah, laying the law down today. Not just to mention, anyone has mentioned it already for it plenty of times, but I'm throwing it out there as well. They also don't want to admit that their season tickets only sell because they can't buy Bedlam tickets individually. Which is funny because OU retweeted last night, hey guys, Bedlam season tickets are available. Like, that was just a perfect moment.
I mean, it is what it is. It's unfortunate, but yeah.
Gavin, tell me.
Okay, yeah.
Join in the
okay.
hate. This is hating
Well,
time.
Okay, you know what? I've actually was looking up their non-conference schedule for the next several years. I have it pulled up right here. So 2023, they have Central Arkansas, Arizona State, which is at Arizona State, and South Alabama.
But Gavin,
That's their opponents for 2023.
I want to add
Can't
this
break
in, by
that.
the way.
Can't break that
I'm
South
just kind of
Alabama
looking-
commitment.
It's a sacred cow, man. You
Yeah,
can't
so
get
I'm
rid of it.
like, yeah, I know. And it's like, oh my goodness. But, and it's what's weird is that they're going to get their chance at an SEC opponent in 2024 when they go up against Arkansas.
Yeah.
So,
Here's the funny part,
Yeah.
Gavin. Well, you mentioned the out of conference, and you're bringing up all the notes I'm going to do in a video later this week. I'm getting close to it, but I want to do this. The other thing, though, is what they don't want to admit as well is when they bring that up, our schedules feel like we don't have room. Oh, because you're telling me that your little FCS team is more valuable than an OU team, or Colorado at the moment is more valuable. Here's the thing, and I'll say this right now. If OU genuinely cared about this game, mountains would move, the seas would part to make this game happen. We all know this for a fact. At the end of the day, OU does not care about this game because we don't benefit from it at all, both from a monetary standpoint and just basically OU doesn't consider Oklahoma State as a rival. Whether they want to hear that or not, that's the truth. They do not consider it, because I even asked my dad, who's grown up. Obviously, my dad's grown up, but grew up in the prime of OU
I would hope
football.
so. I would hope so.
This is not the Benjamin Button other way around, but he even said, I asked him, what is your ideal schedule? And tell me in order what games are important. And if you could have it in any ideal way. Well, obviously, OU Texas on the first weekend of October at the State Fair. I'm like, that's one. Well, obviously, then you would have OU Nebraska on Thanksgiving. That's two. And then, however, he said with Oklahoma State. And I said, and you perfectly explained it, because what they don't want to admit as well is outside of a very minor 80s run, and until recently, like 2008-ish, they didn't do anything.
19
and my dad even said that.
7.
1997.
No. Oklahoma State against OU, 19 wins, 90 losses, 7 ties.
Correct. And here's the thing, too. This is all of it's tied together. This is what makes me pissed off on it as well, with them trying to blame us. If they were dialed up by the SEC, boy, they'd be packing their bags quicker than anything. They'd be gone at this point. They would do the exact same thing because they did it almost with the Pac-12. And B, what they don't want to admit is they're not the favorite child on it, because they chose, when this happened in the first round just with OU and Texas, and then the second round with OU, Texas, and Texas Tech trying to expand the conference, they took short-term gains to build their stadium and their facilities, and not long-term investment to make the conference last. When they did that, OU and Texas were already gone.
Yep.
And they're blaming us for that when they're the ones that caused it.
Could have built that bridge to West Virginia, but we didn't.
No, we didn't. And at the time, we all know the rumors that were flying around that Clemson wanted to join, that Florida State did want to join because they were upset. No different than the Pac-12 with Arizona and Arizona State right now.
Yeah.
Like, it just baffles me how much gaslighting and how much finger pointing it is. It's like, it's not our fault. It is, guys, because at the end of the day, we don't need the game. Our program is not dependent on you guys, because our program actually has success and it's done stuff. Y'all's is dependent because y'all need it to make your program successful, because your ultimate hump is to beat OU. Now, politics-wise, we all know why they're doing it, is so they can retroactively erase that 90 whatever it was record. It's even, I don't even care for it. The 90, I think it's 19, Andrew.
19 wins and 90 losses.
That's it. 19 and well, for them 1990. But 90 and 19 for us. They want to do that. If it's not played anymore, it doesn't matter. Well, from a recruiting standpoint, that makes sense. It makes perfect sense why they're doing that. But to act like they're saying because we moved, we're at fault, you're kidding, right? Because OU's at the table. We're ready to sign. We're like, we'll continue it. We know the benefit for it, because we also know the benefit, whether people like it or not. I'm indifferent. to me, if we play it, cool. If we don't, it's whatever. It feels more of an obligation versus an actual rivalry, in my opinion. It's like Tulsa. We play Tulsa every couple times just out of obligation because it's the other university and state.
Ohio State playing Toledo, Kent State, Akron, Miami of Ohio, Cincinnati. Just, and that's it. And that's fine. Like I said, there's nothing that's stopping us from just saying, every 3 years we play. That way you still get some good non-conference. We used to do home and homes every 3 years. And, that's, I don't know why that's I don't think that should be a controversial opinion, but there we are. Yeah.
Well, and everyone keeps saying, just like people were trying to pile on to Bob today when he's like, we don't need help selling out our stadium. Bob is just wrong. I'm like, guys, he's saying this because Oklahoma State is saying we need them to sell out. Like, no, we don't. Like, y'all can have fun watching UCF and BYU on a Friday night while we play Alabama in October on Saturday. Our season tickets are going to be valuable. Y'all's aren't. So I'm on my soapbox on it. I hate the gaslighting with it and the bubble. Like, it's OU's fault. It's not OU's fault. Oh, and I need to mention as well, Mike Gundy needs to just shut up.
Yeah. I mean,
hey. Go on, Gavin. Go on.
I will say,
I'm a man. I'm 40.
You forgot he's over 50 now. So
I'm a man. I'm whatever I am at 50 something now.
Yeah.
I forgot how long ago that press conference was. Sorry.
Yeah, but it's okay. But no, I mean, if anything, OSU needs to turn around and just say, okay, wait a minute, we can actually make a name of ourselves here and actually build something here. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's like you're just going to go ahead and just start, pointing the fingers at OU and everything. Well, heck, I mean, have you seen all the moves that have been happening besides OU? I mean, you can go back to A&M and Nebraska and Colorado, before that, it's like, honestly, realignment's been going on since 2010, and everybody's been making all these moves. So
realignment never stops.
Realignment happens every 10 years.
Yeah, it happens, quite a bit. We just don't really mention about it. But to the point to what I'm going to say, especially with the college football playoff being expanded, this is going to be a positive opportunity for OSU with OU and Texas out. Them trying to be, considered quote, one of those, other teams, too, where yes, they can actually have more, access of winning a conference title, or getting into one of those top spots. It will make it, a much easier road for them.
Which is
instead
funny,
of
Gavin.
When you realize all that.
Yeah, well, it's add this in as well. Let's big picture it. If they don't play the game, or if they play the game, it doesn't matter for OSU either for it because A, they get a lot of revenue from it. They don't want to admit that, but it's true. B, with the college football playoff expanding, assuming it's the SEC, the Pac, whatever is left of the Pac-12, let's assume they're out, Big 12 and ACC. Let's just assume that for a moment. Losing to OU doesn't matter for them because the playoff's going to be 12 teams and they have a chance at the Big 12. It's literally a pride thing. And it sticks in their craw essentially that they know that they would still lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna. You know what? I'm just gonna laugh when BYU comes in and wins the Big 12 every year.
Oh, I would laugh too, but on a Saturday, not a Sunday.
But you know what? That's some big time sicko energy.
Why is that?
Hey man, if you can't enjoy watching Oklahoma State play the University of Cincinnati at 6:00 on a Friday night, are you really a college football fan?
No, apparently not, because I also don't stay up for the Hawaii Challenge.
I say for the Hawaii Challenge. I was one of the sad people who, when Iowa and Nevada were playing at 1:00 last Saturday, I was 100% up watching that game.
Oh, I fully expect you to, just like with baseball. I guess for me, what drives me nuts on this OSU thing with the victim blaming thing, if y'all want to say on it like you don't want to play it anymore because OU's moving to the SEC. It's whatever, but don't try to pass the buck at that point, because we all know if anybody using critical thinking skills, which apparently is very difficult, drive me nuts on that. People haven't realized schedules aren't blood oaths. Like once you sign it, it can be undone. You can make adjustments. OU just literally did it. Do you even remember, all three of y'all, if y'all remember, BYU literally scheduled an opponent within 6 weeks? It was Eastern Carolina of everything. So, like, I don't want to hear it's the schedule. We all know why. You don't want to play anymore because you're tired of losing. Like, that's what it comes down to. But if victim blaming, that's a lot easier to do. Justin, what's your thoughts, man? Because we're all on our soapbox. I'm energized with it because I hate when little brother is getting on their little soapbox and trying to victim blame. That shit is revisionist history, and it drives me up the wall.
Well, I guess the only thing I'd have to say with towards Oklahoma State, Oklahoma's going to the SEC. What did you expect?
I'm adding something that you just inspired me. That's the other thing too that I do not understand from them.
If you like it so much, why didn't you bid to try to go with them?
Because they weren't invited.
They weren't invited. Trust me. Yeah, if there's some way they could force it, they would. They do it,
and they'd be the ones to do it. Yeah, they got essentially butthurt because the SEC did not want to. And if we would have been gone 10 years ago, if Bourne wasn't our president, I'm not blaming Bourne or anything like that.
No,
but
I thought at the time, Bourne was a very old school Oklahoma guy. He wanted the rivalry to exist, and he still believed that the Big 12. He believed the Big 12 could compete. And to an extent, I think football-wise and excitement-wise, the Big 12 can, but you just don't have the TV contracts there. I also think his assumption was the Big 12 was going to expand at some point. At the time it was the right call and you could justify it, but every decision after that has made it the wrong call. So this isn't this isn't anti-Boren. This isn't anti even keeping the Big 12. Keeping the Big 12 people wanted to keep the Big 12 together at the time. People did.
Right.
It's just situations change, decisions are made, people mess around, and now they're finding out what happens when you do that.
Which is funny because they're trying to victim blame us of it's the consequences of my actions. I'm like, no, guys, this is the consequences of your actions because OU doesn't need the game. Just like if I recall, and feel free to correct me, gentlemen, Oklahoma State was the one who did not want OU going to the Big 12. It was basically the little brother jealous that the older brother got the job offer. Well, you can't take that because now I have to pay the rent. Well, maybe you shouldn't have gone all those years not contributing shit to the pot.
Yeah.
Now you're stuck. So beggars can't be choosers. If they want to say their entire reason is OU going to the SEC, it's just a load of crap. And I'm just tired of it. It's dumb. Anyway, that's my soapbox. That's my soapbox. I will have another soapbox ready to go, but it's just like, here's another one too. I'm adding this in. You're seeing people come out and be like, do you know how in other conferences, in other sports, like they're not nearly as big as football, so they do have to go into other conferences to play.
Yeah,
like with it. So like Fresno State, for example, I think it's in wrestling. Well, it was announced today, like, well, once OU moves, we're not going to even let them go in our limited sports. I'm like, that's dumb because there's only like in gymnastics, there's only a certain amount of teams that do it. You can't just exclude at that point with it because then you lose out on the revenue. And then people were suggesting, oh, maybe we need to charge them a membership fee to be in here if they're going to be in that one sport. Why? Do they even realize what they're saying when there's only like 10 teams? That's stupid. Because then you don't get any other revenue for it. So I'll tell you what, this is one of the biggest times I've ever seen Oklahoma State be some of the whiniest crybabies and throwing a temper tantrum in my life. And y'all know I don't like when Iowa State does it. Man, Oklahoma State passed that buck really fast. So anyway, any final thoughts on that before we wrap up? I vented for 20 minutes. I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good too.
I'm good.
All right, then final part. We got like 3 minutes and we'll wrap up. Swiggy, final score of the game.
I'm feeling pretty good here. I'm gonna go. I do think I do think Kansas State's defense is good. I feel 31-10.
All right, 31-10. Gavin, how you feel?
I'm going to go 38-13.
So closer to the Nebraska score?
A little bit more closer to the Nebraska score, but I think the defense just plays a little bit better.
Okay.
OU will still get their points.
Gotcha. Justin, final score for OU.
Probably I'll go Oklahoma 38. 38. Kansas State 10.
38-10. I will mirror that, Justin. I think it's going to be 42 to probably 12. The reason I say that, they'll get on the board with a touchdown. They'll probably have some field goals made. I don't trust Adrian Martinez, though. I just don't. And this team is not a high-scoring team on it. They cannot score.
So do you have him going for a 2-point conversion or a safety at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah, because 12 just seems a little odd, because you don't get 12 without a 2-point or a safety somewhere.
I mean, they got 10 on Saturday, so I think the defense is going to make Adrian Martinez live because he's not really even a mobile quarterback. So I think they're going to get that too in some capacity for it. But who knows? So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens in our first game of conference play. So I want to thank everybody who joined tonight. I genuinely appreciate everyone tuning in, hearing our Kansas State preview and hearing me on my soapbox for 30 minutes vent about Oklahoma State victim blaming. So comment, rate, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and like this video because we want more people to interact with us. We want to see the chat flow. We want y'all's questions. We want y'all's comments for it. Again, when y'all do that, you'll also know when we go live. So join us Sunday with me and Sean for our K-State recap video, and be on the lookout as well for my Kansas State preview video, my Oklahoma State rant video, because that will come as a separate one. And then also too, I'm going to do a quarter gut check. This is going to be a quarter one gut check of what my thoughts are on how we are right now, what we're looking at the next 3 games as well. So that's all we got tonight, guys. We went over about 25-ish minutes, so I genuinely appreciate everyone who stuck with us. So Boomer Sooner, only one Oklahoma, and let's go beat the Wildcats, guys.
All right, peace out.
Peace out, guys. Later, and reminder for everybody that the game is 7 o'clock on Fox. So have a good one, guys. Boomer Sooner.